Moving on to module, the art of negotiation and leverage. One of my favorite topics, because there's a human psychology component to it. This is going to be more aligned with what's going to be the language that's going to be in your purchase and sale agreement, or the PSA, as to why it creates leverage and how you can negotiate within that PSA. Certain contingencies you can put in, certain clauses you can put in, which creates a greater sense of urgency or a greater cherry on top for them to move forward with your purchase and sale agreement versus another's. A few nuggets in there that has worked for us in the past, and we'll dive into it. But this is a really I don't want to say important, but it's an exciting topic because it allows you to get creative with getting properties in a contract, just using a few pieces of information or a few clauses that you can just throw in and really change the outcome of the opportunity itself. Let's first understand leverage. The power to influence or persuade a person or a situation to achieve a particular outcome. So there's different types of motivations people have to sell a home, right? They could be upsizing, they could be downsizing. They could want something in a different area. Maybe they want better school systems. Maybe they're moving out of state. That's all common grounds as to why somebody wants to sell. It's more of like your retail sellers that are, they're not in an urgent situation. They're not looking for a lowball cash offer. They're looking for like your conventional FHA buyers that are going with a qualified mortgage or a QM mortgage, they call it. People that are getting underwritten based off their debt to income ratio so that they can afford more. They too are using leverage to buy a property based off of what they can qualify for. That's not really the target audience or avatar that we're looking after. The person that we're looking for, or the home that we're looking for, and I say that intentionally, person or home, because there's two types of homes that we're looking for, or two types of avatars we're looking for. There's a distressed home, right? The property's outdated. It has structural problems. It won't pass regular conventional FHA mortgage. That's one. The other is a motivated seller. Financial loss. They just lost their job. They're going into business bankruptcy. Their medical bills are piling up. They're relocating, and they need to relocate fast because the job starts in 30 days, right? A divorce or separation. Somebody that is like beating heads with their spouse and they're done. They've had it. They want out. We can provide them that out. Family crisis. These things happen, unfortunately, and I don't want you to look at it like we're taking advantage of somebody. We're in the business to also feed our family and improve a neighborhood and improve a community. We're just simply providing an option for them that will make their life a little bit easier, because that's sincerely what we're in this to do. Like, yeah, we're in it to make money, but if your option is best for them, then you're doing them a service, right? As long as you fulfill on that service. If you're saying you're closing in 21 days, make sure, I'll use this term often, you're impeccable with your word, right? Time frame, right? So time is also a way that you can use leverage. Fast close, that's leverage. Flexibility on close, that's leverage. And there's different clauses that you can pay attention to identify whether that person is motivated or that home is an ideal home for you to buy. So speed, we typically close within 14 business days. That means our inspection period, our title, everything is done within that 14-day window. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. If you have a 14-day close and you have to issue an extension because somebody's traveling or your lender took a little bit longer to get you some information, that's okay. Don't extend it too long. Things do happen. I think both parties, in our experience, have been sensitive to that. I would say if you're using hard money, extend out the close period a little bit longer, 21 days. That's still a very fast close. Maybe even 30 days, it's still a fast close. have done it so many times, and we have specific private partners that can wire funds immediately, which allows us to buy it very, very fast. Cash offer. Understand what a cash offer is. Okay, if you're going hard money, technically it's not a cash offer, but you're presenting it like a cash offer. There's no mortgage contingency, meaning, okay, if the property doesn't appraise, you're still going to buy it. So regardless of what the appraisal comes back at, you're still going to move forward with the transaction. There are investors where if the property doesn't appraise out, they're going to back out. And the reason being is because if the property appraises lower and you're getting a loan based off of the after repair value, and it appraises lower, well then that spread of difference as to what you projected versus what it actualized at, you're going to have to come up with a difference, meaning you're going to close. Now your number can still be your number, but if the bank or the lender or the institutional investor that's looking at this deal and underwriting this deal values the property, the after repair value at a certain number lower than yours, just know that you're going to have to bring more cash to close. And for some that don't have the liquidity or don't have the capital partners, that could be an issue. And that's why sometimes they back out. So when you're having these conversations with your agent or your agent's having these conversations with the seller agent, it's important that you communicate exactly what you're doing. If it is hard money and it doesn't appraise out and you're still going to move forward with it regardless because you love the opportunity, you're sold on the neighborhood, you're very confident at the opportunity presented, let them know, guys, the appraisal is just for the appraisal. The bank needs that. We don't need that. It's a cash offer, right? But be prepared to have that conversation, okay? Why is cash offer also attractive? When somebody goes to buy, I'll give you an example. I bought my first property with an FHA mortgage, right? Meaning it's a first-time home buyer program. It's 3.5% down. There's a greater level of flexibility in terms of getting approval from a bank, but the bank has a stricter criteria as to what they'll lend on. Meaning if there's peeling paint, or if there's a roof leak, or if the heat's not working, they won't fund the deal, right? And if they won't fund the deal, okay, the buyer has to go to the seller and say, hey, listen, they're not going to fund this deal if you don't fix X, Y, and Z. And fixing X, Y, and Z costs money. And a lot of people don't have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 laying around to be able to fix that. Now you can do a seller credit, but not often the seller do that because they think their property is good. Again, there's emotional ties to homes, which is important for you to understand. So presenting a cash offer is like, I don't care if there's peeling paint. I don't care if the HVAC's not working. We understand that. We're buying it because of that. Our offer is adjusted because we know we're going to have to inject capital to forcefully appreciate and bring the property up to a certain value where we can attract your conventional or QM buyers, qualified mortgage buyers. Okay? Cash offers are typically discounted. Hence, you're going to be offering discounted. Don't be offended. This is strictly business. There's zero emotion tied when we're making decisions, when we're underwriting. If you love the property, you love the neighborhood, but the numbers don't work out. If you love the property, you love the neighborhood, and you get a counter, but it's $20,000 off from where your number's at, and if you come up $20,000, it's very risky and you might not make any money, you don't do it, period. It's strictly numbers driven and logic driven. There's no emotion when you move forward with a property, okay? Flexibility on timing. We just purchased a property up in Somers, Connecticut. This is about an hour and a half away from us. And the property wasn't that bad. It would have qualified for FHA. It would have qualified for conventional. The caveat was there was a Hubbard clause. So if you see a Hubbard clause in a exclusive right to sell listing agreement, that means, or if you see it in the note section in the MLS on the listing agreement, that means that owner needs to find suitable housing prior to you closing on the property. As Americans, we want to use things that we buy, and if I'm a buyer and I'm moving with a family, I want to be sure that I can prepare accordingly to move into that home. And if I'm relying on another person to find a home, move into the home, move other stuff out of a home, there's too many moving parts, and that can cause people to back away from properties, which creates an opportunity for us. Because if we're willing to be flexible with their terms, they too should be flexible with their price, which is why we got a discount up in Somers, Connecticut on a 2,500 square foot home that didn't need that much work. Okay? So being flexible on time is important, whether it's speed, the speed to close, or the ability to wait. Both can be an advantage to you as an investor. All right, continuing with the art of negotiation in leverage. One of our favorite clauses to add in, and I can't emphasize this enough, guys, is the dumpster clause. The dumpster clause states that seller, leave everything behind, take what you want, leave everything else, we will take care of it. One, you're already getting a dumpster, right? It might cost you a little bit more money for your contractors to remove everything and put it in the dumpster, but you're already going to get a dumpster there. You're already gutting it. You're already doing the work to the property. Add the dumpster clause. Save it for when you and the seller are negotiating back, because you will get countered offers, and sometimes the countered offers won't make sense, but you'll add in the dumpster clause, and they'll be like, oh, that saves me a lot of time and a lot of effort and moving expenses. Let's do it, right? You'd be happy. You'd be very, very happy with the outcome, because you're not really spending too much money on cleaning the property out, and you're saving them a headache, so they're willing to decrease their price for that headache that you're saving them. That's leverage, right? No mortgage contingency. I briefly touched on this on the last slide. All it is, no matter the condition of the property, seller, we're moving forward with it. We know what we're buying. We know it's distressed. We know X, Y, and Z aren't working. We know there's peeling paint. Don't worry about it. We're moving forward with it. Versus your QM buyers or qualified mortgage buyers, FHA and conventional, there's specific criteria that needs to be fulfilled for the bank to lend on the property, right? No mortgage contingency is essentially stating we don't have to get pre-approved or underwritten. We're buying it no matter what, no matter the condition, right? As a sale, similar. If you have an inspection and you come back and want X, Y, and Z done, it's an as is sale. You can market it. You can put in your PSA that's it's as is. That's totally fine. If the seller or the real estate agent that's selling the property discloses inaccurate information when they market the property, and you go to the property and you've underwritten something and it comes back entirely different because of the information that is material, meaning there's proof of it, you have every right to try to retrade that property. If you need to. If the numbers still make sense, make your money. Don't be penny wise, pound foolish. Make your money and proceed forward with the deal, okay? You can waive inspection. We typically waive inspection on the majority of our properties unless the septic well or an underground oil tank. Those are big ticket items. They can drive up rehab costs, and they can really diminish returns if things go south, or if things are or if those items are need to be replaced. Starting off, I would say do a 5-day inspection window. Depending on your state, in the state of Connecticut, there's a 5-day return to review, which we utilize as kind of like that inspection window. You can get your earnest money deposit back. It's very, very important to understand real estate law within the subject state that you're in. I would do an inspection, be safe, let them know, guys, we're walking it with our GC. We want to just check out the property, make sure that all of the numbers add up, and our rehab is estimated accordingly. Make sure that there's no structural defects, anything like that. We're moving forward with it. Dumpster clause, dumpster clause. You'll be very surprised how many deals you can get under contract and purchase by just adding that in when you're negotiating back and forth with a seller. Make note of it. Use it with scarcity Don't use it in every PSA that you send out. Use it when you need it, because it will allow you to get more properties under contract. I guarantee you. All right, if I haven't said it before, I will say it now. The fortune is in the follow-up. Utilize the follow-up filter spreadsheet that we provide. It's very, very important. If you think about your typical fix and flip avatar investor, somebody that's older, they're a contractor, they're not business savvy, they're really good with their hands and fixing properties up, but they don't have any type of follow-up system. So this is a way to differentiate yourself, really. Make sure your agent's using it. What we do internally, and I suggest that you do this with your agent for a couple reasons, but we have a weekly call the same day, the same time, for 15 minutes. We review current offers, we review old offers, we review countered offers, we review offers that we're close on. This is going to keep, one, the business plan and business goals at your forefront, but also allow you to help your agent evolve and become better, but also it's going to do that for yourself, right? You're going to find ways that you can get a little bit more accurate on rehab, or better understand how to analyze comps. It's a way to really differentiate yourself from other investors. Can't emphasize it enough. Stay on top of your follow-up filters. Make sure they're being updated. Make sure your agent's updating them, and you too should be updating as you go along. It's a team sport. There's plenty of room at the top. Make sure you're working with your agent to do so. The agents also have to follow up with these the seller agents, right? If there are offers, make sure that there's a text sent out, at least a text. Most of the time, we like a phone call. I understand doing it for 20, 30, 40 offers a week might be a little bit an overload, but at least a text message. Hey, we got our offer. What I would suggest is have them pre-populate a template, right? You copy and paste this template in every text message. It's much more efficient that way. The template can be as simple as, hey, agent blank, just submit an offer on the property at blank. My client is qualified, has the liquidity, they're experienced investors, or they're working with a large hedge fund or debt fund that are looking to acquire properties. Let us know if you have any questions regarding the offer. Would love to do business with you. Something like that. But copy and paste the filter to send it out to all the agents that you've submitted offer on. It allows for you to gather feedback, and it opens the door for a counter offer, because we love counter offers. That's another opportunity for us to come in, take a closer look at the property, see if it makes sense, see if we can crunch numbers a little bit more accurately, and eventually get the property under contract. It's on you to hold them accountable, right? Take that ownership, have that extreme ownership in holding them accountable. And again, the way that we do that is really weekly calls. Stay on top of them. All right, moving on to getting the deal under contract. The reality of this business plan and how we operate is, majority of the time, guys, it's going to be a hard no, right? They won't even counter you, but sometimes you'll get a counter. And when you do get a counter, make sure you reanalyze the deal. Check out the comps, check out the rehab budget to see if they're both accurate. Happens all the time in our business where we've underwritten, or our team has underwritten a project, and the rehab might be a little bit high and the ARV might be a little bit low. We increase the ARV a little bit, we decrease the rehab a little bit, boom, we meet their number. Or we get that much closer to their offer. That way we can kind of negotiate. If they counter, we counter. Hopefully we can meet in the middle. Happens all the time, probably more times than not in our business, where the seller will counter, we'll meet in the middle, and we'll get a deal done, and we'll make the profit spread that we set out to make. Always counter the counter. If you're going to follow up with your agent, make sure, again, you're impeccable with your word. You follow up with the agent. Feel free to jump on a call with your agent. A lot of times we do that. Our agent's Eric. Hey, Eric, this is what we're seeing for the property. What do you think the ARV is? What do you think the rehab is? What are the disclosures showing? So what we really like to do, and we'll dive deep into this a little bit more, but when you get a counter from a seller, and it's within 20% of your offer, do this every single time. Run a CMA, check the comps, see if it works out. See if you can push the numbers a little bit. If you're a little more bullish on the year, maybe you can accomplish a little bit greater of a comparable market analysis or an after repair value. Check the rehab budget. Make sure it's accurate. Check the disclosures. If you're underwriting a new roof, but the roof was replaced 5 years ago, well, then take the roof out. Boom, now you can get a little bit closer to their offer. If you're underwriting a new boiler, a new furnace, and the disclosures say, look, the furnace has been replaced for the past 3 years, you don't need to do that. So boom, take that out. Now you're a little bit closer to their number. Check the market. See how many active listings there are. If there's limited active listings and there's a lot of homes under contract, you know that it's a very desirable area, so you might be a little more bullish in coming up on your offer. Do all of these things whenever you're within that 20% of the counter offer. We also advise going out to see the property if you're within 20%, because again, you might be underwriting a certain rehab that's just not the case, or the area might be a lot superior than what the comps are reflecting, and you might be more bullish on this opportunity, and you might want to come up a little bit more because you're willing to take a little bit more of a risk simply because the area, the land, the backyard, the exterior, the floors are in better condition than you previously expected during your underwrite. It's a little bit more work, but it makes the biggest difference, and it will allow you to get more properties. We do it every day in our business, and it really has helped us scale and pick up more properties than we expected. So all of these steps, extremely critical. Rerun them when you're within that 20% of a counter offer. Implement it. Take the time to do it. Reinvest in yourself. Reinvest in this opportunity. Check the opportunity more, and you will yield positive results. Mark my words. All right, just to add to the last slide, as we're continuing to getting the deal under contract, when you're within that 20%, another check mark or check box to check off would be to contact your general contractor and see if they'll either one, walk the property, or two, hey, general contractor, one of ours is Carlos or Alex, pull up this address, take a look at the property, this is what we're budgeting, what are your thoughts on this budget, right? When you're telling the budget to the contractor, lower it a little bit. Right? You don't want to tell them, hey, if it's actually going to be $75,000, tell them, hey, we're budgeting $55,000. Let them tell you, nah, you're probably looking more like $65,000. And if you're underwriting $75,000, well, that's good, right? That means you're protected. That means you're a little more conservative in your underwrite, which is always a positive thing, especially if you're pretty close to where the seller's countering. Call your GC, work with them, build the relationship. One, this is going to help you better understand their numbers and kind of where they're positioned at with a rehab and what they're allocating towards X, Y, and Z. But two, it will lead to more opportunities that you get under contract because you've had these preliminary conversations with your general contractor. Take the time, do the work. It'll yield positive results.